So I'm Evan Matthews, co-founder of Macroverse, and long overdue to get back to this Moonbirds commission, which I am actually quite excited about. Quick update, lots of stuff going on as always. Um, so much stuff going on, actually, more than always. All of it very good. I hate to keep saying this over and over again. Not much we can actually announce yet, but there's some stuff that's getting close. We're getting a very full schedule for Comic-Con coming up in another month or so. It was my birthday yesterday. Long overdue. Whoops, there's a little sneak peek. Bug testing on the platform. Actually, I don't think you saw that because I'm not sharing my whole screen. I'm just sharing Clip Studio. So here we are back with this awesome commission. And this one is for another member of the Moonbirds community who's also in proof and a proud Azuki holder. This is Red Skelly, Captain. Definitely give him a follow as well. I'm assuming him, so I shouldn't assume that. But it's Red Skelly, CAPT on Twitter. Very cool stuff in their feed. So check that out. Give them a follow. But let's get back to kind of where I'm at with this. So I did some original. This is the original Moonbird. Very cool. I really like these skeleton birds. So I'm excited to get a chance to work on one of these. Got a lot of freedom to do pretty much whatever I want with this one. So I'm going to stay pretty close to Justin's art here on the original Moonbirds collection. I did some sketches and landed somewhere in this neighborhood. Then I pulled some reference. And one thing that's crazy when you start looking at owl skeletons is that their real skeletons don't look anything like owls. So I thought that was interesting to note. Now, of course, in the actual Moonbird skeleton, this is much more stylized to keep the characterization of the Moonbirds. It would be weird if you had this kind of vulture-y looking skeletal head and body inside the Moonbirds collection. But I thought that was interesting to note, and it gave me a little bit of a little leeway as far as how I treat the actual skeleton, because while it's very cool in the pixel art, I found it a little more challenging to think about what was that going to look like in higher fidelity. So I pulled these images as reference, and then I also found these, which I'm really curious, Justin Maisel, if you used anything like this as inspiration for what these guys look like, because this one here on the right looks a lot like our Skelly over here. If you didn't, wow, great mind thinks alike. And if you did, cool, because they're pretty badass. So that is the stuff that I found. And then going from these sketches, I also pulled in a captain's hat so I could get a clearer sense of what this is. Just a costume hat, but it gives me kind of a clearer sense of like exactly how to deal with that as a shape. So after some refinement, we got here with the kind of look and feel of the Skelly's head. And then I wanted to give him, looking at the skeleton of the actual birds here, and even these guys as well, felt like, giving him a little bit of articulation for what would be wings or arms. Felt like it added a little more dynamic feeling to this. So from the sketch, this is where I'm at right now, is, kind of looking at this pose where he's, kind of coming at us a little bit. And then after sharing this with Red Skelly Captain, he suggested that we might add a little flourish of a cape. So I started putting that in. It's very rough right now. I think what I'm actually going to do is treat this as kind of two components, at least for now. So I really like the feeling of this guy, bare bones, pun intended, I suppose. And I'm not yet loving him with the cape, to be honest. So I'm gonna kind of leave that as a second element after I get a little more refinement on the body, and then maybe even do the inking. I may just add the cape almost like a separate trait that can be turned on or off, and then we can decide how we're feeling about it. So there's something cool about it, but I also just really like this clean skeleton. If I imagine kind of a storyline here, maybe this skeleton captain has been I don't know, almost feel like there's a Moonbird zombie apocalypse scenario happening here, or a Pirates of the Caribbean, perhaps with this captain. So anyway, I'm gonna go in from here just to continue to work on refining the skeleton for the body a tiny bit, and then I'll kind of be ready to go into inks from there. So I think this is going to get one more pass just for a little additional refinement on the body, but I'm pretty happy with the pose and pretty happy with kind of the general direction and vibe here. You'll notice my inspiration, it's minor, but looking at, how this stuff works for the real birds, I'm not worrying so much about, some of this other real skeletal structure in the front here, but just looking at kind of how the connection of the wing, kind of quote arms come in here, and then also the fact that this neck piece, and you can see it reflected in the original art too, but the neck is actually set back quite a bit, from the rib cage, like it is, obviously going into the spine. So putting the our kind of very stylized version of the rib cage more towards the front, creating some real depth around that, I thought was pretty cool. So letting that really be in the back, and then this kind of cage, for lack of a better way to say it, that forms the rib cage. So looking at some of these guys, both this kind of stylized version, I'm going to move this, or I have a little bit of a clearer picture of it, kind of up here, and then come back in here for a little additional refinement. And I'm just kind of piecing together bits of this that I like and want to pull from as I use this stuff for reference. So I do like the way that this kind of the bones work here. I'm not going to go for realism here, but again, just sort of looking at the combination of these elements to create something believable, not necessarily real, but believable. I think that's a good way of thinking about it. So anyway, let's see. And so I'm going to take a little inspiration from how these work. Up here. So yeah, something along these lines feels like it's, helping it feel a little more defined. And, because I'm going for something that feels a little more realistic, I want to have a little something that helps to sell that slightly more realistic take. So same thing here with this what would this be? Like, it's not your clavicle, the sternum here, that we get kind of a little more realistic take on also, where the ribs are going to connect. And of course, that's very different than what the real owl skeleton is, which I still can't believe. Like, I would never see that and go, oh, that's an owl. Just would not see it that way. But it is crazy. So actually, this is a case where I kind of want to see a little more clearly what's going on here. So the clavicle here, if that is the clavicle, is kind of wrapping around in the front, but I'm interested in this part over here to kind of see how that connects in the back. That's actually the shoulder blade back there, I believe, which I'm not going to worry as much about here, but just want to kind of see that because, this stylized model, like the neck doesn't actually make sense so much doing what that's doing there. But that's okay. And of course, we're really kind of pushing it with how this is going to work here. Is a little bit more kind of like a Haunted Mansion, Pirates of the Caribbean kind of a stylization here. So I'll come back to the other side. Just want to kind of figure this out a little bit. All right, and then looking at the neck bones here. Again, not going for realism here, but just want a little more clarity. Like, this is crazy complicated. And actually, if you think about eating a turkey or a chicken, like, you can think about those little neck bones, those little, not even neck, the spine does have those little tiny pieces that feel very foul, so to speak. So yeah, I think that's kind of recognizable actually. But we're gonna go again, kind of make it a little more realistic here. Again, realistic in the sense of feeling a little more realistic, not actually being actually truly realistic. All right. And okay, I think for the moment I can hide this guy. And I think, again, like, one of the things I like about this is this kind of wrapping around of the structure here. You can see lots of kind of sharper angles in this guy, which I think fits with the stylization of the face in the pixel art. So kind of wrapping that around, into the skeleton, I like. And again, sort of creates this feeling of real depth as these structures go and wrap around the character. That'll also be fun. Nose is EG. Also be fun when we get into thinking about lighting here, as to how that will function with probably going for the same upper left lighting. I don't know. Maybe we'll go more from the front. That could be kind of nice for this one. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll go upper, kind of upper right, as if it's kind of just above, so we'll get a nice shadow under the hat. But yeah, might do that. It's a little more along the lines of the original as well. But anyway, like the kind of way that the bones are kind of wrapping around here. If you look at this, we really are taking quite a bit of creative liberty, but it does feel like kind of the proportions of the original, which again, I like in this case. I'll find some of this when I get to the actual finish. But by the way, finally saw Into the Spider-Verse yesterday and really, really loved it. I love the fact that we are living in a time where it is possible to create animation that looks like actual paintings and drawings and like real natural media reflected as something that isn't painstakingly created by hand, although it's still very painstakingly created, of course, but something that can be kind of painted onto 3D models the way that they are doing that. It is pretty mind-blowing, and I am here for it. All right, these are going to be fun when we get into shadow and really going to make this feel dimensional. All right, and I think we're basically going to get one more rib or rib piece of the rib cage in here. Maybe we'll get the hint of another one down here as this comes in and wraps around. Yeah. That's feeling pretty good to me. Take a little bit of additional liberty here with the way this connects in the back, because I kind of want this kind of Halloween-y vibe to the way that the skeleton works here also. And then this one, like getting these little windows through both the kind of the neck and the backbone, as well as how these things connect in here. Again, I'm going to figure some of this out in the final, but this gives me enough to work with at the moment. But I'm going to probably go a little more graphic in there, just to help it feel kind of creepy and skeletal. All right, so I think somewhere in here is feeling pretty good to me. It's enough for me to kind of work with to get to the finish. And then getting this other arm in here. All right, I'm digging it. So yes, TBD on the cape. I like the idea of the cape. I'm just not sure I like the way that it fits with the rest of the composition. But again, I want to always try to work with the ideas that I get from anyone that is kindly enough to commission one of these. So I will try to figure out a way to make that work. I think the rest of it to me is working so well that I don't want to dramatically change the pose or sacrifice kind of the vibe of the rest of it just to get the cape in there. But I don't want to not get the cape in there either. So that's the slight conundrum at the moment. And yeah, these arms are just kind of hanging on to nothing, but I think it's okay. I mean, I think we're in supernatural, again, kind of Captain, Captain Skeleton world. So I think I'm okay with that. Normally, I would want to try to get more of that anatomy, correct, but I think it's enough to buy it. And again, looking at the pixel art version, like that, I love the art, don't get me wrong, but the reality of that skeleton is, not particularly, not as understandable as it could be. Let's just put it that way. But I think we lean into that. We love it. We love the Skellies. They're awesome. All right, so I think that's enough to work with. And what I'm going to do now is take this layer and drop the whole layer down. And then I think for the moment, I can get rid of that. And then we're ready to start laying down some inks. And again, I actually really like the kind of feeling of this character. So very happy to be able to work on this one. It's taken a little while because of all the other stuff that is going on, but I appreciate the patience as well. Red Skelly Captain. All right, let's see. So this is going to be our inks folder. And as I have done in the past, I'll treat the different elements on different layers so that I have more control over them later. I'm going to probably go kind of top to bottom. So probably starting with the hat in this case. So I'll probably want to pull that reference back on here. And I think what I'll do, since it's not going to be needed anywhere lower, is actually just move it kind of down and out of the way. I think it's one of those things where, again, sort of taking some reference from the hat, but also some creative license here as far as kind of a blend between the original pixel art version and the reference that I found. This is just a costume hat off of Amazon, as well as kind of blending it into this character. So if you've seen me do this before, you see I'm still searching for the perfect brushes and kind of what I want to use for that. So this is just me kind of testing different options. Turnip pen, definitely not. So what I'm looking for is something that is a pretty good, relatively clean line that has good thick to thin pressure sensitivity. This one, because it is a skeleton, I still want it to have a clean line. Maybe we'll go with this. I kind of like the vibe of that. But I'm not afraid for it to also have a little texture to it, although the one I picked now is not very textured. So there you go. So for the hat here, I'm going to go more gray. I go slightly towards green. We're going to take out most of the saturation here, but the slight greenish tint in the line work will play off of the red in the skeleton. So I might start with that, and then we can always adjust it later, of course. So let's see how this goes with the hat. All right. So I'm actually gonna Also, just keep in mind how I think this is going to, nope. All right, this is a case where I also want to just rotate a little bit for the sake of this line. And I don't like it. So this one nice thing is when you are working digitally, for better or worse, you can redo things that you're not happy with. And I am not afraid to do that. So let's see. Okay. I'll probably clean this up a little bit more, but that is better. I want to get rid of a couple of these little rough edges just with my eraser. All right, yeah, not heating that. This is just the little bit of a guideline. I'm probably going to do most of this with color, but a little bit of a guide for the dimensionality of that brim, which I do like. All right, I'm not going to worry about these leaves on there, but I am going to try to capture this. I don't even know what that's called, this kind of gold tassel-y kind of thing. And you'll see that this is kind of keeping in mind where I think the, kind of how the skull is going to come in here. So since that tassel-y thing is also going to come into play, I do want to accommodate that. So I'm going to probably do that on a separate layer so that I can potentially change the color of it later more easily. And let me get a closer look at how that braid works. So, okay. I think I get that. So I do want to capture that feeling in here. So here is this part that it's connected to. And then this is actually 2 pieces. And then the tricky part is kind of looking at how this works in perspective. So this may take a second to kind of get right, but I do want to get it right. So let's see, this is going to try to figure this out here for a second. So this is, whoops. I'm going to put this up here. This is just a little practice to see how this works. So this is coming on here, and then these 2 pieces are overlapping. This is going up here. This is going up here. Okay, I see. And then that's a loop there. So then this one, okay, it's going there. This is just the rough version, but I want to try to get how it actually functions. Yeah, it's still, it's a little tricky. So this actually is like this. And then this one from the bottom goes, okay. These are kind of all, okay, these are all going up and over. These are all going up and over like this. While this part is going under, which let this go up and over. So it's kind of this shape repeated. And then this one makes room for that again. Something along those lines. All right. It's trickier than I hoped it was going to be. I still don't really quite have it. So let's, just do the real thing. All right. This may take a minute. So feel free to come back if you just want to see where I end up. All right. So that is here. And then this is here. Actually, we'll have, oops. Lost my brush. There we go. Is that kind of it? It's kind of it. And I think it's probably selling it enough to work. Okay. Yeah, all right. I think it's going to work. Getting that turn correctly. Let's say that's the bottom part. Yeah, I think so. It's like kind of working. I don't know. I might end up revisiting this, so we're gonna see how it plays out by the time we get to the end, because I think this is a very, very much kind of working, not 100% working. And when we get around that corner, it's very compressed. Okay, maybe. But also this feels like it's gone too far. So let's actually adjust that here. All right, kind of working again, kind of working. Feel like it might be okay once we see it all come together. We'll see. If I need to revisit it, I will. Yeah, no. All right. I think that's all right for the hat. Getting there. Whoops. For that part of the hat, I should say. All right. And then one of the things I like about this reference hat that I found is kind of how this part comes out, which feels like it's related to the original, but also a little bit different. But I like that. Oops. Nope. Okay. Okay, I feel like actually that is pretty decent. And then this bobble, oh, you know what? I did all that on one layer. So I'm going to end up working on that later. Yep. All right. Fine. This goes into the inks layer. Yeah, only kept that separate. Shoot. All right, but I am going to keep this separate. This ring or O, which is on the hat. Okay. Okay, so we have a hat. Ladies and gentlemen, burbs and girls, we have a hat. All right, so I think that's all I need for this reference for the moment. And always be saving, be saving, be saving. So important. All right, so now I'm going to go, excuse me, for a different color. So this is all hat. And actually, let me just show you how I'm going to separate this, because I think for anyone that is watching with their own work in mind, maybe this will be helpful. So I'm going to take this lasso tool here, wherever that is. There we go. Is that? No, that's the balloon, not a lasso. Where is it? In here. Again, if you haven't seen me work in Clip Studio recently, you would think that by now I would have figured this out, but I'm still fumbling around for where stuff is at times. All right, so one of the things that is a very cool feature of Clip Studio, they have done something with some of their tools, which is different than Photoshop or any other drawing program that I'm aware of, and made it very easy to do things like what I'm about to do. So I'm just drawing a rough selection around this, and then right from within here, I can say cut and paste, which would cut it out of that layer and paste it into a new layer. But what I'm going to do is copy and paste. And so now within that selection, I have a new layer, which has just these, the part that I copied on it. And so, it's not perfect, but I can easily now go in and just erase these extra bits. Let's see, I need my, whoops. Need my eraser to be smaller as a brush size. Erase these extra bits. And then I actually want to combine that with this. So I'm going to take these two and let's see, merge selected layers. So now that gives me just that part. And this is the O. So now the gold pieces are separate and the hat pieces are separate. Yeah. And I may, wait a minute. Oh, right. So now that I have this on a separate layer, I'm going to want to kind of do the same thing here and just remove it from here. So it's easy enough to just erase some of it, and then I will probably go ahead and just do again sort of a rough selection for most of this. And then in here, I can also just say delete here somewhere. Let's see, delete outside selection, delete. Okay. And then just do a little cleanup again with the eraser. In this case, we're going to want to get rid of that as if it is not a part of the hat. And because I am a sucker for things being kind of complete, I'm going to put in what would be underneath it as part of the hat. And then when we turn that on, it's there. When we fill it in underneath, it'll feel like it's sitting on top. But now that is separate, and the top of the hat is all, wait a minute, yeah. So that's our O, that's our thing, that's the top, and that's that. Now, I may also want to change the color of the top of the hat and the brim comparatively, but that I will deal with later if I decide to do that. So that is the hat. Now, what's on this layer? I'm saving. Always be saving. Okay, that's also part of the hat. All right, so now I'm gonna come in here. I'm gonna stay in the inks, and now I'm gonna go for kind of a dark red for the Skelly line work. And also keeping it separate means it's easier to adjust down the road as we get to the color stage. All right. And this is the part I've really been more looking forward to, or most looking forward to, is I think this little bird is going to be really cool when it's all said and done. And inking this part is something that I have been looking forward to. So again, sort of lots of kind of angles in this guy intentionally. I think, kind of going even a bit further than the original art. But yeah, just I like the shape of this kind of very stylized skull. I think it's just really cool. Okay. Let's get to the beak. I like this guy has this like hook in his beak as well. And then this kind of like I'm kind of emphasizing the kind of the bones around here a little bit more than again in the original. Mostly I'm going to do this in color, but just like getting a little bit of that in there also. And then these eyes, which have this almost kind of evil turn up to them, which I also really like. let's see, I'm gonna go not quite at this stage all the way to darkness, but I want to kind of get towards there. Yeah. And again, we're going to do a lot more with color to work on this some more, but I think this is going to be really cool. And then, oh, you know what? I'll get the other side too. Actually, this one. Cool. Okay. And then I'm going to fill in those eyes. Kind of want like burning embers in them or something, but I think we'll refrain. We'll restrain ourselves, even though, yeah, it does seem like that would be cool with this guy. All right, so you know what? It is getting a little bit late here, but I wanted to make some progress on this. Pretty happy with this part so far. I hope if you're seeing this that you're enjoying it as well. But I'm going to call it a night for the moment and then get back to this. Hopefully this week I'll be able to get back to finishing the line work and then we can jump into color from there. I'd like to make some progress on it this week. Red Skelly Captain, appreciate your commission and appreciate your patience. I think he's going to be pretty cool. I hope you agree. So anyway, I'm going to call it a night there and we will be back very, very soon. If you're seeing this anywhere other than my Twitter, you can follow me at Ebonverse on Twitter. Again, this beautiful bird is Red Skelly Captain. Red Skelly Captain, Capt, which is also their username on Twitter. So give them a follow as well. And we're going to have some fun continuing to develop this character Hats off, shout out to Justin Maisel on the proof team for the original Moonbirds art. You can also see more of what I and we are up to at Macroverse, which is also just at Macroverse on Twitter, as well as macroverse.com if you want to find out about our upcoming digital collectible comics platform. There's all kinds of fun stuff that we're doing, including drawing burbs. Lots more to come. We're working with Wanderers. If you own a Wanderers character, you have a chance. This is the final week to get submissions in for your character's backstory, which we will be turning into short comics. We've got some announcements around Bushido's and the other projects that we're working on, the Galactic Secret Agency, more on Macronauts this week, and we are getting very close to announcing a brand new project that we are very excited about that is gonna surprise some people, I think, in the best possible way. Moonbird's comic is also moving forward. We had a meeting with the proof team this past week and are just arranging the final things on both of our sides to kick things off properly. I think when we do, you're going to really like the way that we do it. There's a lot of opportunity for Moonbird's holders and the community at large to engage and participate in crafting the Moonbirds comic series. And we're going to have a lot of fun doing it. I know a little bit about the world and the story that Justin and team have been putting together. And you've seen the art drops for Mythics. Everything looks amazing. The world is coming together in a really fascinating, wonderful way. So this is going to be quite a playground for us to play in. And we're just getting the last birds in a row to kick that off between us at Macroverse and Proof and Moonbirds together. So lots to do over the next few weeks. And lots more. Again, I can't quite talk about yet, but more to come. So with that, I'm going to end this particular stream. We'll be back with more Red Skelly Captain at some point this week. But I hope you've enjoyed. And if you're seeing this on YouTube, or if you haven't yet subscribed to the YouTube channel, do the likes and follows and all that stuff. That helps us out as well. So with that, have a wonderful rest of your day or evening or whenever you are catching this stream. And GM.